Good morning, YouTubers and fellow crafters. It's Nay from Nana and Nay's Country Crafts. Now, I do apologize in advance for, again, I'm working with just my phone for a camera, and for the fact that I may be a little slower today because Thursday, after I posted my shout-out video, I had an accident with my rotary cutter and ended up going to the emergency room, and this is the result. Of course, it was a fresh, brand new blade of a rotary cutter, and I didn't drop it in time when I sneezed, so I do apologize if my hand gets in the way. It's pretty bulky right now. So today, I wasn't going to do one, but I decided to do it's a short video on turning a t-shirt into a bag. Now, there are many ways you can do this. Today, I'm going to use, says One Lucky Grandma. It's for Nana Laura because she is the grandmother to my two children who are, one's almost 9. He turns 9 in about a week and a half. And the other will be turning 8 in September. So I got this. It was $1 at Walmart, and it is an extra small, and Nana Laura wears large to an extra large. So I took what I could get. Today we're going to turn this into a pretty little bag. So I don't do much cutting. I only do cutting for the sleeves, and I usually cut on this side of the seam here to make it easier. You can loop it over your arm. I don't cut this normally because it keeps it from stretching too much and fraying too much. So we're not going to be doing much cutting, and we don't even have to turn it inside out. Let me just get the camera down. Okay, what we're gonna do is I have put my sewing machine on a 4, which is a wide zigzag stitch. As you can see, this is where it's at, and this is what it is the wide. You can go smaller. It will take a little longer, but you can do it. So let's get the camera angled. I'm actually going to knock it down to a 3. You don't want to adjust the needle while it's sitting down in, or else it might snap the needle. And that's not something you want. Now, when it comes to this, I don't usually measure. I just eyeball it. But today I'm going to measure just a little bit because, you know, I'm going to, if I can find it, we'll just use my cutting mat. Oh, here it is. So from the writing down to the bottom is about 10 3/4 inches. So I usually go about 8 inches from the top, from the bottom here. Sometimes I go as little as 7 or 6. But I prefer to give, let's see if that's there, it gives us almost 14 inches in between for whatever you want to put in the bag. So we're going to go about 8, which brings us to here. Now, I normally eyeball it, but it usually ends up 8. I don't normally turn it inside out, because I don't see a point if we're just going to be, yep. And you start a little bit ahead, a couple stitches, and then you go backwards. So you go over the edge, be very slow, watch your fingers, move a little bit ahead, feed it through very carefully, and just go all the way across. Hold it so it doesn't bunch and help feed it through a little bit. It's okay if your stitch is a little crooked because you're not gonna see the stitching after I show you the other part. Again, I apologize if my finger is in the way because it's rather bulky and I really can't use it. So we're going to keep going right across. And we're not going to stop at the edge, we're going to go straight off. Because then it'll keep it from coming undone. Go straight off. Now what I do, you don't have to, but what I do is I usually snip the thread a bit. I turn it over. Oh, there's a sticker. And then I go back over it the opposite way when it's turned over. I'll start a bit ahead, hold the thread down so it doesn't come undone. Back stitch all the way. And then come back forward and go straight across again, following the line you did before. Or as close to the line as you can get. You gotta remember, this is a stretchy fabric, so the zigzag will help give it some leeway when it stretches. Straight stitch would probably, my last one that I did popped, so keep going straight across the over top there. Make sure you still have your thread there. And as always, keep your fingers away from the needle. And this little part here, or else it's going to knock you in the knuckle and it's going to hurt. Just keep on going. Almost done. Stop to reposition your hands. Keep on going. When you get closer to the edge, just so straight off it. And there. Now that's all the sewing we're going to do with this, because we're going to take the sewing machine, turn it off, and move it out of the way. This next part, as you can see, the line goes straight across. I can put my hand in there and it doesn't go through anywhere. Now I turn it back over and I take the scissors and I cut a slit almost all the way up to the line. My scissors need sharpening, sorry. Either that or I need to get a new pair. I've had these for like 1.5 years, 2 years. I use them a lot. And you do the same thing on the other side. Almost all the way up. From there, you don't really have to measure. Oh, sorry. You don't really have to measure from there. But, I mean, you can use a ruler and mark the lines from 1/2 inch to 1 inch to 1.5 inches. I wouldn't go any wider than that. But I normally just eyeball it. First, I cut this little tag off because it's going to get in the way. And you take it. Yep, definitely need a new pair of scissors. And you go a little below the cut line. You have maybe a centimeter, 1.5 centimeters below the cut line. And you do this all the way across, avoiding cutting the thread at the top because you don't want to have to go back and resew. Resewing with strips like this is hard, and you go all the way across. They don't have to be perfect because nobody's going to care. They're just going to see a awesome looking bag, and I know that Nana Laura will not mind if they're a little wonky. This is one of those no measure. Now you can do this without sewing, but I just prefer to because it keeps it from, you know, if it ever comes untied, it keeps you from losing items, and that's not something you want. I realized that line was a little bit wicked short. So we'll try to cut a few bigger ones. And we keep on going. I don't have the fast forward button, so I apologize. Keep going. We're almost done. I realize my hands may be in the way a little bit. I'll try to rectify that. And the last one, I try not to get it too wide. Unfortunately, if I leave it that way, it'll be way too wide. And that is, besides cutting the sleeves off, which we will do last, that is the only amount of cutting. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take the strips and make a knot, and then knot it again. You're going to do this all the way across. You end up with like a little fray bag bottom, and you know, I think it's really cute. Not everybody would. I mean, you can sew along the bottom edge of the shirt, but I mean, it just ends up with a really, really big bag. And if you're just looking for something fashionable or quick and easy on the go, this would work. I have a feeling that Nana Laura is going to use it to transport some of her yarns and crocheting she does. But you know, you can never have too many bags, because I know she has a lot that I've made. And this is just going to add to it. And you keep on going. We're going to go all the way across. And it doesn't matter if you stretch these a bit, it's going to give it a little bit more like character kind of thing. A little bit of frayed look. I like this look, but that's just my personal preference. We are almost done. Now, after I do this, I'll show you what I do next. I usually do another row of knots, but I do it a little differently, just to make sure it locks it and won't come undone. That's just how I prefer to do it. You don't have to. You can stop after the one row of knots across the whole thing. And that's completely up to you. You don't have to follow me exactly. You can make it your own, however you want. I mean, if you wanted, you could use any t-shirt. Like, if you had a plain white one, you could tie-dye it or color it completely. And it will look just as awesome. As you can see, we are on the last one. You can see the stitch line a little bit, but this is what you'll end up with, is it'll look a little scrunched because of the tying. Now, what I normally do is I take and go back through and double knot again on a lot of them. I'll take one from side-by-side knots and tie it nice and even, nice and tightly. I do this only to give it a nice little look. As you can see, it makes it look scrunchy-er. And I happen to like that. Not everybody does. This is just how I prefer to do it. Because you can see there's a gap right here, and you know, it just brings it together. It will take a little bit longer than the first round because you are taking individual parts from the knots. and tying them. But don't worry, it's quick, easy. It's like those no-sew blankets that they have. I like those, they're kind of cute. But I don't normally do the no-sew blankets. This is about as much no-sew as I get for fabric, or wreath making too. I do make wreaths. I have quite a few around my house that I've made that haven't sold yet, hoping that once this is all over we can do a couple craft fairs, but I'm doing pretty well. We are almost there. Almost done, and then we can cut the sleeves, and there you go. Cute little bag. Now, I don't use a rotary cutter for cutting this because if you follow the seams, there's no need. And then, almost done. Couple more to go. Last one. And there you go. You end up with a nice little scrunch bottom. It does still stretch. That's why the zigzag stitch gives it some leeway. Now what we're gonna do is, you see this line right here, that's what we're going to follow when it comes to cutting off the sleeves. Now you can do it through one layer or two. Sometimes it's easier to follow it better with just the one layer. That's what I'm going to do right now, is just the one layer. Now it doesn't matter if it looks frayed or not. It'll stretch a little bit and it'll be a bag that's going to go on your arm anyway. And then we do the same thing to the other side. Now, if you're good at sewing with cotton, stretchy cotton, go for it. You can keep the scraps. A lot of people don't. I usually cut it into strips and use it for stuffing, for if I'm doing like a small stuffed animal for my kids, because they don't really mind. It's still soft-ish. They usually use whatever I make to sleep on anyway. And that's it. That is everything for that. And I will show you. It fits on your arm. A little bit of stretch. You can cut this off, and I might just do that to make it easier for Nana Laura. What I do is I lay it flat, and then I follow the front half of the circle all the way around. And again, it doesn't matter if it ends up wonky, because you can just go like this and it'll self-roll, which is very nice about t-shirts. And there you have it. Nice little cute bag. Let's demonstrate how well it holds. This is an 80 milliliter drink bottle filled. And I think Nana Laura will love it. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can know when we upload videos every time. Let me know if there's anything particular other than the requests I already have. I just have to wait for material and stuff to do the current requests. So if there's anything that you think I can do right now while I'm waiting to get the fabric, just put a comment down below and give a thumbs up.